What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this very quick conversation about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I had forgotten that this show had recorded, I thought it was too late to do a review of episode 1 because episode 2 is coming on tonight. So I was going to watch episode 1, just, very casually, not taking notes or anything like that. But then when it got to Dorit and her home invasion, I was like, oh no, I gotta get onto my channel and talk about this because this is bizarre. So first of all, I want to preface this by saying that I like Dorit. I like all the women. I don't have an issue with any of these women, to be honest. Sutton kind of got on my nerves at some point, but I even have grown to, accept Sutton as well. So this is not coming from a place of like a hater of Dorit or someone who has an issue with Dorit. I don't. No issues at all with Dorit. But this is my thing. When she was talking about this home invasion, I was thoroughly like confused because, and I don't know why, but I felt like her story did not have the ring of truth to it. Now, I'm probably going to get attacked, like, how dare you not believe the victim, so on and so forth. I don't know. But her story did not have the ring of truth to it at all. And I was wanting to believe her. I was wanting to believe the tears. I was wanting to believe the emotion, but it seemed like she was putting on a performance. Now, it just seemed like she was putting on a performance. When she was sitting in Kyle's house telling the women and Mauricio what happened, it was like she was putting on a performance and a very good performance, but I didn't believe that this actually happened. She told a very good story, but it wasn't believable to me. So I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so when she was talking about how they came into her room and they put a gun to her head, and I guess they were directing her, or they wanted her to go and show them where she kept her jewelry and all of her expensive bags. I'm thinking they would have killed her. I feel like they would have killed her. I'm a true crime aficionado. I love true crime. And I have seen, I don't know how many, probably tens of thousands of true crime episodes throughout my life. I don't know, maybe more than that, maybe hundreds. I don't know. But why would they leave a witness behind? Someone who can identify them in some way. She could probably identify their voices. And then when they came into her home, from what we can see from the video surveillance, their whole face wasn't even covered. It was like half of their face. It looked like they were wearing regular masks, like COVID masks. I don't know. Maybe they were wearing ski masks, but it looked like they were just wearing regular, like the masks that we wear every day. And you could see their eyes, you could see their nose. She could identify something about them. And then they get all this stuff, and it was almost as if, like, okay, for them to get as much stuff as they did, because I don't know how her house is set up, but for them to get as much stuff as they did, they were just taking their sweet time. Like, they didn't worry that the alarm was triggered when they broke through the window, because I know, for average people like us who have just a regular schmegular alarm system, if there's any kind of vibration to the window, sometimes the alarm goes off. Now, this glass door was completely shattered and no alarm went off. Okay, so Dorit, your husband is away. It's just you and the children, and you don't turn on your alarm? Like, what? I don't get it. I don't understand. What type of security? Where do you live, Dorit? That there's no gate, there's no security post, security guard in front of the neighborhood, in front of the subdivision, or wherever that you're. Because when she was at Kyle's house and she was, relating to the women and Mauricio the story of what happened, all of a sudden, Kyle's dogs started barking, and it looked like Dorit was putting on a performance of having like PTSD or something, because she was really shook that the dogs were barking. And Kyle was trying to calm her down and say, I have a security system. I have a security guard. This is a gated community. Don't worry. Okay, so if Kyle has all of that, why doesn't Dorit? Like, where does Dorit live? Does she live in a regular subdivision like the rest of us? And then the surveillance of these people coming into her home. They were just, walking, casually walking up to her home. Like they just had all the time in the world. Either it was like an inside job and they knew that she doesn't turn on her security and they knew the security guard in front of the neighborhood, if there was one, I have no idea. And they knew that PK wasn't home because they were very casual about it. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to get in, get what we need and get out. It was just like, yeah, let's go rob Dorit's house tonight. And they just casually walked up, shattered the glass door, walked in. She said they put a gun to her head. I guess she led them to where all this stuff was. And then when they were leaving and the surveillance camera of them leaving, it was like you're watching some type of a cartoon or 80s movie or something. Like they had this sack full of stuff and they didn't get any money. They didn't get any. Did they get money? Did they get credit cards? Like, what are y'all gonna do with this stuff? The jewelry and the bags, which probably have, if they're like legit, don't they have like, don't the bags have serial numbers or something like that where they can be traced if they are either pawned or I don't know. I don't know how the criminal element works with stolen goods, but I would think that with her Birkin bags and all of these expensive items that they took, that somehow they're traceable. And then they left her. I would have thought that they would have definitely have killed her because people have been killed for a whole lot less. People have been killed for $20. Okay. So they are going to leave a witness behind. She could, and they were talking to her because she said they were yelling at her to get on the ground or they were going to kill her. So they weren't worried about her identifying them in any way, like identifying their voice, identifying their body structure, identifying something about their face, because it looked like they had on regular masks that we wear every day when we leave our homes, when, we had to start wearing masks. It didn't look like, I mean, they didn't even tie her up because usually in a home invasion, I would think that the first thing they would do was try to tie her up, blindfold her, so that she can't identify them because you don't want your victim to look at you. No matter how covered up you are, you don't want your victim to look at you, to identify you in any way. Wouldn't they have done that? But there was like, hey, come on, Dorit, show us where you have all your stuff or we're going to kill you. And then it was just so bizarre. It was so bizarre. But I guess this is what they do in Beverly Hills. I guess this stuff isn't traced. I don't know. I have no idea. But this whole Dorit home invasion thing just seemed bizarre. And then when Sutton went over to Kyle's house, Kyle, as soon as she opened the door, she was like crying and she thought that they were going to be talking about Dorit the whole entire time. And Sutton was like, yeah, okay, so let's move on to something else. And then she starts talking about her own issues. I think she said, her chef or somebody that works for her wasn't able to get through customs or something. And then Kyle was like, aren't you worried about Dorit? I mean, how can you even be talking about something else? And then Sutton was like, well, I'm sorry that nobody held a gun to my head. Sutton is out of control. So the thing about that, I thought maybe the reason why Sutton didn't really want to talk about it because she doesn't want to waste her time, talking about BS. Maybe Sutton saw through all of this and she doesn't believe Dorit. So it's like, I don't have time to talk about Dorit's fairy tales. I'd rather talk about my own issues that are real. I don't know what the hell is going on this show with Dorit. I don't want to sound unsympathetic. I was so ready to be, to sympathize with her. But, and then PK, when he came over to Kyle's house, like, why wouldn't you want to go see your children first? Even though it seems like the kids had no idea that this was going on because Dorit said that she had put her children in their own rooms that night, even though normally when PK is out of town, they will normally sleep with her. But I guess some type of maternal instinct, she had sent the children to go sleep in their own rooms. So luckily the children were not aware that they were being invaded, that this was a home invasion. But then when PK came in, like, why would he have gone to go check on his kids, even though the kids didn't know what happened? Go check on and how could Dorit feel okay with leaving her children, even though it was with PK's assistant and a security guard? how could you be comfortable leaving your children, not being there with your kids? That's what I'm trying to say. How could you be okay with not having your kids close to you after you just been a victim of a burglary, a damn near violent one because they held a gun to your head? And then what else was I going to say about this? I'm just like flabbergasted. So I'm wondering if maybe Dorit felt like she was going to be replaced because last season she really didn't have much going on. Well, nobody had much going on last season because it was all about Erica Jane and these lawsuits. So maybe she felt like she was going to be replaced because they added a new housewife. They didn't get rid of any housewife. So now we have more housewives this year than we did last year on Beverly Hills. Maybe she felt like, okay, they're probably going to replace one of us and it's probably going to be me. So she concocts this whole, y'all, this is smelling of Jesse Smollett. Okay, this is smelling of Jesse Smollett, where you hire people to try to victimize you so people can have more sympathy for you. And in this situation, she probably wanted the sympathy, and she probably wanted to be the center of a storyline or be the center of the show. And she probably also wanted to keep her place on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I don't understand, but that whole entire the surveillance thing, and I know that she probably has some really high-tech surveillance, which if she does, why wasn't your alarm on? But her surveillance was so crystal clear. It looked kind of fake because usually surveillance videos are kind of blurry or you're not always getting the best angle, but hers was so picture perfect clear other than being black and white. If you have a video camera that is this high tech, why wasn't your alarm on? So there was no alarm that triggered law enforcement because they took their time. I don't think they were in there. I don't know. Maybe they were in there 5 minutes or less and they got away with all of that stuff. And they're dragging this stuff. The burglars were like dragging this pillowcase or whatever this was. I mean, how typical is that? Like a white sack. It's like a movie prop. It's like a damn movie prop. I hope this is real. And if it's real, I will definitely come back and I will sincerely apologize to Dorit Smollett. But if this is not real, or if I don't ever get the feeling that this was a genuine home invasion, Dorit, you're trash. You're absolute trash if this is not real. But anyways, yeah, Lord forgive me if she really was a true victim of a home invasion, but it just doesn't have the ring of truth. Anyways, that's all. I just wanted to talk about Dorit Smollett. And I will definitely talk to you later on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, subscribe. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. Just, keep on moving. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.